Hey, this is Your Band is a Business. I'm Cornelis, and this is my weekly vlog about the day-to-day realities of being an independent musician. Over the weekend, I had a photo shoot, so I thought today it would be good to give you 5 tips about how to prepare for your own photo shoot as a musician or band. Now, for those of you that are new to this channel, I'm not a guru. I'm a musician that wants to spend time doing their own music. So this video doesn't have fancy cuts and graphics. I'm just going to give you my 5 tips, and I'm going to use the bullet points that I've written down here to remind myself what to talk about. Anyway, let's get started. The first thing that you need to think about, if you haven't already, is your overall aesthetic and brand as a musician, as a band, if you haven't already. Now, this is a really deep topic that I talk about in other videos, and I could talk about a lot more. But we'll keep it simple today. Now, a lot of artists already have an intuitive sense for this, right? If you're playing in a metal band, then maybe you wear black on stage and you have long hair. I'm being stereotypical, right? Or if you're a country artist, then you like to wear cowboy hats and have the video taken outside in the country when you're driving a pickup truck. Anyway, a lot of you will already have an intuitive sense of the aesthetic and branding that you are going for as a musician. But if you have not thought about this before, then there's a simple way to get started. The first thing you should do is make a list of the artists or bands that you feel that you are like in terms of the music or the aesthetic, or that you would like to be similar to. So make a list, 10 artists, 10 bands, something like that, and look them up on Pinterest. Make an account on Pinterest and do a search for the 10 bands or 10 artists, and pick out the pictures, the photos that you like most, and add them to a board. And what you're going to do is you're going to try and see what kind of commonality there is to the photos that you like in particular. So it could be the locations that you like, or maybe it's the time of day that the pictures were taken in, or maybe it has something to do with what the artists are wearing or what they are doing. There will be some commonality. Now, again, let's be stereotypical. It's a country artist that you are a country artist, right? And you notice that the pictures are outside in the countryside, taken in the daytime, it's sunny, and the band or the artists are dressed for the country life. So whether that's hats and cowboy boots, I don't know, something like that. So you notice these commonalities, and what you need to do is create a second Pinterest board and pick out your favorite photos of the bands or artists, add them, but then also start looking for pictures that fit the aesthetic and the mood that you like. So yeah, it could be pictures of cornfields and barns, or pickup trucks, or pictures at the rodeo, stuff like that. Anything that you feel fits what you're going for. And you can go quite abstract with this. For example, there might be some artsy photo of a glass of water on a empty table, I don't know, and you're some kind of ambient artist, and you feel that photo just fits your aesthetic and your vibe. Yeah, add that as well. Anyway, so you've done all that, and what you can then do is then you can approach the photographer that you want to book and say, look, I've got this mood board, and they will be so happy that you've done that for them, because that will answer a lot of questions for them, because they will want to know, okay, do you want pictures taken outside or inside in a studio? Do you want to have props, or is it just you and maybe your instruments? And what time of day are you going to be wearing your regular clothes, or are you going to be dressed up in some fancy elaborate getup? These are all kinds of questions that they'll have, and by providing them with a mood board, you will already answer a lot of those questions. They will obviously then ask you things like, okay, how many photos do you want to come away with at the end? Uh, what are these pictures being used for? Is it for social media? Is it for an EPK, an electronic press kit? Is it for a particular album launch or single launch, or is it for an interview? They will have all these other kinds of questions. But by providing a mood board, you will already be ahead of the game, as it were, and answering a lot of questions for them, which will save them time and effort and will make everything run more smoothly. So yeah, think about the aesthetic and branding. Uh, that's number one. Number two, provide a mood board. Number three, this is when you get into the logistics of, okay, when are we going to meet? How long is this photo shoot going to last? What are the expectations of how many pictures will I come away with? Often a photographer will say, well, I can provide you with everything, maybe all the pictures that we take, but then uh, you can pay, part of the package will be that I will take 10 or 15 or 20 photos, and I will make sure they look as good as they can in terms, they will edit them, they will color correct them or do some little Photoshop work if that needs doing, removing somebody from the background or something. uh, and you can, this is where you negotiate that with them. You should know, okay, what am I paying you for, how much time, how many pictures, what am I going to get out of it at the end. So get really clear about that. And yeah, where are we going to meet? Is it going to be at a studio? Is it going to be outside somewhere? And yeah, discuss that in advance so that you know, which is the next point, how to dress. So have a think about what kind of clothes you will need. Are you going to have one outfit, as it were, which you will just wear throughout the whole shoot, or will you have several outfits? Now, if the shoot is going to last 45 minutes to an hour, then you might not have time for a lot of outfit changes. Maybe you can quickly change, your top, like a different jacket or a different t-shirt or something like that, but you won't have time to change your whole outfit. If you do, that's going to eat into your shooting time. So think about that in advance. What kind of how many different outfits are you going to wear? Discuss this with the photographer. They'll have the experience, obviously, to tell you what's going to work and what's not going to work. And yeah, think about the location that you're going to be shooting in, and the time of day, and what the weather is likely to be on that day. Have a look at the weather report. Is it going to be warm and sunny? Then you might not want to wear lots of layers and jackets. Or if it's going to be, looks like it's going to be a cold and cloudy day outside, then again, dress appropriately. But dress appropriately for the aesthetic that you're going for. And remember, you can always bring a thicker jacket or coat that is appropriate for the weather, that you quickly take off, take some photos and put it back on, and then walk to the next location, for example. So yeah, it would be silly to wear a nice outfit that fits your aesthetic as an artist and then have it covered up with a big winter coat and a woolen hat, for example. So yeah, what you'll have to do is think about something that you can put over your outfit, take off, take some photos, put it back on again. If it's cold and rainy, then that's something to think about. But obviously, if it's a hot day, if it's a warm day, then again, you should either dress appropriately or be aware that you're going to be really hot and you might be sweaty. So bring some towels and things like that, and prepare for that eventuality as well. And the thing is with photos and video shoots, you have to understand that you might personally be physically uncomfortable sometimes, whether it's a bit chilly or it's a bit too hot or something like that. But you have to grit your teeth and get through that, and not show it when you're taking the pictures, because yeah, you'll be uncomfortable in the moment. Obviously, don't do anything dangerous, but you might be uncomfortable in the moment, but then the photo will be forever, as it were. So yeah, so sometimes you're just gonna have to pretend that it's not so cold outside and put on a smile, something like that. Okay, so that was point number 4, which is thinking about your outfit. And the final thing to think about is the props that you will be using. So for most musicians, they will bring their instruments, so their guitar and their bass. The drummer, I guess they could bring drumsticks, something like that. Um, but yeah, think about those kinds of things. Some people want to be a bit more adventurous in terms of the staging of their photos. So if they're in a studio, for example, then they might be there might be an elaborate setup. I don't know, maybe you're pretending that you're at a fancy dinner party or something like that. But you know that this is something that you need to discuss with the photographer, because that is something that needs to be organized, right? A table and drinks and all that kind of stuff. So that obviously takes a lot more work. So think about that. But other than in most situations, musicians will usually just want to bring their instruments with them. But you can think about, you know, which of your guitars are you going to bring, because some of your instruments just might look better or cooler, as it were, than others, and that's certainly what I did on my photo shoot. I have a bunch of different guitars, but I brought the guitar that I think will look the best on camera. It's not necessarily the best in terms of like all the music I play, but it, you know, it looks cool, and you know that's something to think about. So yeah, those are my 5 tips for preparing for a photo shoot. And I will link below, by the way, to a course that I've made, which is all about discovering your brand and aesthetic as a musician or as a band. It's called the Brand Discovery System. I will link to that below. As well as that, I will link to the photographer that I used for my shoot here in London. So if you're in London, check them out. It's Bella Cata Media, which you can find on Instagram, but I will link to them below. And yeah, that's it. Those are my thoughts for today. If you have any tips for preparing for a photo shoot, then leave a comment below, and I will speak to you guys next time.